Hello, beloved. Welcome to my diary. I'm Tatami, and I am so excited to talk to you about this new Saweetie and Jhene Aiko music video for Back to the Streets. And essentially, they redid visually several fundamental key elements of FernGully for the music video, which is so exciting. It is something I identified with the movie FernGully. I identified with that so much when I was a little girl. It just really pulled me in. The concept of talking about the environment, fighting for it, it just being a bloodline, innate thing, second nature to work with the environment instead of against it like it's overlord or master. I found it so refreshing as a little girl, especially because I was super disappointed in Pocahontas as a little girl. I really y'all, I thought she was a coon or something. I was like, girl, what are you doing? You put everybody's life in danger. I played Nakoma, her best friend, and I blamed her for Kocoum's death when I was a little girl. So FernGully had a more solid place in my heart, a more positive, solid place in my heart. And so it really warmed me to see those iconic images remade with darker skin, which is something I fantasized about since I was a really little girl, brown people. And it just makes me think of, I'm pretty sure the fairy people of Africa are called the Yumboe, and they're spiritual people you can work with. They're an African traditional religious deity, a spiritual guide that you can absolutely work with, and many people do. Personally, I don't. I'm at this time still strictly conjure, hoodoo. I'm like, it's the ancestors, spirit, mama nature, that's it. I don't do that much else. That's what I go for. But I've always had a warm spot for fairies. And once I learned about the Yumbo, I was like, I really have a warm spot for brown fairies in particular, black fairies in particular. So it was really cool learning that they had that. And then also, as I grew older, I learned about the whole FernGully situation where it almost wasn't even made because Robin Williams was very passionate about the project because he was passionate about the environment and he thought it was important for kids to see. Okay, so quick cut in. Later, rewatching this, I realized I didn't explain exactly what I meant by it almost not being made and Robin Williams being into the environment. So let's look at my quilt real quick and talk about that. So essentially, Robin Williams was into the environment. That's why he signed on, but he also at the same time signed on to Aladdin. Disney wasn't very happy, so they started sabotaging FernGully. They started trying to buy up their studio time, the buildings they were in, that sort of sabotage, which really put a bad taste in Robin Williams' mouth. And so it's kind of a miracle. And through some of his personal perseverance, but also obviously the other people who worked on the film, that it even got made. No thanks to Disney and its, corporate oligarchy, it really tried to sabotage this film, so it was never made. So that's what I meant. I'm really glad that it was made, partially because Robin Williams was passionate about teaching kids about the environment. Imagery that was pro environment. And I commend him for that because it shaped my mind as a little girl. I watched that movie countless times, as well as, I don't know, gosh, no, what was the movie? There is some weird movie where animals had to move their home. It wasn't Watership Down. It was some weird movie. But there were a few, and it was always the environmental movies that really dragged me in because I just felt like indigenously, ancestrally, that's where I should be. I shouldn't have been with the adoptive family, the transracial adoptive family situation that I was in. So I just really connected with FernGully. I really connected with some of these other movies, and it just warmed me. It really warmed me to see these visuals. As for the, auditory aspect, what I heard, I thought it was very good. I really enjoy that type of R&B. If you'll look, I have a playlist called Mellow Mamas, strictly dedicated to this type of music by black, mixed black, etc. black women. And I also have a playlists I've been trying to make for men, but women is really my passion. I just really like to hear their voices. I like to hear their raps, their singing. I like it to be that mellow, cool, neo soul, ethereal R&B type of sound. So that's really where I'm at. But I do know a lot of people, they mock Jhene Aiko, and they're like, there's this weird whisper R&B type thing with light-skinned black girls in the community right now, which I will not deny. Like the FKA Twigs and Jhene Aiko and who else? A bunch of people exist. My Mellow Mamas playlist is a testament to this. Absolutely. You could scroll through that and find dozens of singers, modern light-skinned singers who are kind of whisper singing above the beat. Truth is, I like it. I like it. I enjoy it. I enjoy ethereal R&B. I enjoy the experience, but I also think it's a valid criticism. If you don't like it and that's all that keeps coming out, that would be an issue for you. So I'm always a fan of what Jhene Aiko comes out with, but this is very typical what she comes out with. So if you're one of those people who's like sick of the light-skinned girl whisper singing over some, chill beats type of thing, I think Saweetie adds a lot of energy to this song and to the whole energy of everything. She just takes it up to that level, and I just appreciate that, which is why I don't just follow the ethereal R&B neo soul singers. I also follow women's rap specifically. That's also because I've always had a soft spot for it. I really love it. The only sport I follow is battle rap, so I do have a lot of feelings about it, but at the end of the day, I just, I really enjoyed it. It's just my preference, but I do want to say, if you're one of those people who's been waiting for Jhené to switch it up, today is not that day. It continues in the same vein, but Saweetie definitely takes the energy from like here to here, and I really appreciate that. Saweetie has the grace and elegance to compete with Jhené's grace and elegance, but at the same time elevate the energy to a space where I think R&B kind of needs that energy. When someone first was talking about the whisper singing thing over beats, I was like, actually, you're kind of right. There is a need for that input of energy. And in my personal opinion, this is something random, just on the end of a video, but in my personal opinion, that spruce of energy, who's that rapper? What's his name? MF Doom. He was talking about how people don't really have that amusement factor, that fun factor in music anymore. And in my honest opinion, once we get a few of those croony neo-soul singers, light-skinned, dark-skinned, whatever, because we got a few of them, mostly light skin, but there are some dark skin ones too. I'm just saying, once we have people making that music for fun and not just for the drama, for the feelings, the heavy feelings. Once we have people croon singing about like dusting the house, eating ramen with your man, something simple, you know what I'm saying? Something just fun. I think we'll see that change in neo soul and ethereal R&B, but right now, Black women are just serious. It just is what it is. You have to be. I understand Saweetie's drive and like do this, do that. That's like, people say she's changed, but I think her situation has changed, so how she reacts to it has changed. But she's still very strict with herself. And even when Jhené is very street, very loose, very comfortable with the way things are in the streets on where people are living, the usual people, the majority people are living, even then it's never fun with Jhené. And I will offer that same criticism to FKA, to who else? Nao, what's her name? She's a diva, that woman. Normani even. It's not always as fun. It's so technical. It's so boom, boom, bop, boom, boom. And it's like, girl, just have fun. But nobody's having fun anymore. Everybody's super serious. Nobody is writing joke songs anymore with fun melodies. It just doesn't feel like the time. So in my honest opinion, that will come. But for now, I'm really loving that callback, that seriousness, that Mother Earth call, you know what I'm saying, that I see when I see FernGully imagery, that spiritual call, when you see that type of energy, it reminds you of where we are, which it's not always going to be fun. It's not always going to be that fun, you know, there's always been, in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, in the thousands, we had those fun moments. But it can't always be those fun moments. So for me, seeing that gentle imagery, the usual neo soul, the usual ethereal R&B, mixed with that older imagery of connecting with the earth, standing for your rights, standing for your people. It's not about, oh, let me go to the city and figure out how to be in the city with this white boy. No, you, white boy, came here and you'll learn the rules. And you will respect the rules, and you'll know why you should respect the rules. And so thusly, they teach them in FernGully, and thusly he goes home, implied, he goes home and teaches further. Whereas in Pocahontas, it was all, what does white boy need? What does white boy want? What's best for white boy? I kind of bought my people time. Now let me go to England to buy my people more time in episode 2 in movie 2. FernGully did it better, in my opinion. It left what it is with what it is. And I was so excited to see that reborn into Black imagery in front of my face with 2 Black artists, female artists that I absolutely respect and feel are both fighting for a cause rightly, for what actual modern Black women and mixed Black women are going through, which often overlaps, most of the time overlaps, very rarely does not overlap, even though, you know, there are situations obviously where it will deviate. But at any rate, I was impressed. I enjoyed it. I thought it was wonderful. And I would pay to see a whole movie of that. It was literally my childhood fantasy to be a fairy in that forest and then see that white boy off. Ha! Taught you. Goodbye, sir. Go back to your people. Not marrying you. I loved that she didn't marry him at the end. I loved it. I loved it. Especially as, like, Pocahontas. The ending of Pocahontas left me uneasy as a little girl, especially because I was really bitter about Kocoum's death. But by Pocahontas 2, I was pissed. Same with Esmeralda in the Hunchback story. Honey, that's another story. What did Lil Wayne? That's another story. I'm not a storyteller. How did he say that? I miss those. I miss when Lil Wayne was like a rapper who was just word vomiting, a fountain of words just coming out. That's another story. I'm not a storyteller. Beloved, you have a wonderful night, day, whenever you're watching this. May your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads, and I encourage you absolutely to look up that song because personally, I liked it. I'm just glad FernGully was a thing, y'all. Robin Williams was passionate, but Disney tried to stop it, and now here we are decades later, and we have, like, Black fan fiction on it. That's the magic of the ancestors. It just is what it is. Good night. I have to go. My kids are being super loud, and I know I tucked them in like an hour ago in their beds, so I don't know why I can hear them on this video. But at any rate, parental duties call.